So the first thing we're going to try today is having another go at this stud. Now you won't have seen it yet because I haven't shown it, but I've been trying to remove the head on the other car as well. And I did have 4 stuck studs, and I'm down to just 1. And the way I approached it was using the impact wrench on it to cause vibration. So I stick a spanner on the inside nut to hold it in place. I use my impact wrench on the outside nut in order to tighten it. And once it's tight, the vibration then kicks in. And for 3 of the 4 stuck ones on the other car, it freed it up enough that I could get it out. So we're going to try the same here. We'll see how we get on. Been at this a couple of hours. We've had no progress here during that time. We have managed to get the bolt. I don't know if you remember from last video, but the bolt at the back here has come off using a 2.5 foot long breaker bar that I'd bought. So that came out, and we've also got, well, snapped in fact, the stud here that was stuck last time. So we're just, you can see now some movement there. So we've still got this snapped bit in here, but we can see a bit of gap coming. So we should be able to get the exhaust manifold off shortly, and we figure with everything else off, this is the one stud that's still in there. So we're trying to think about if we can twist it, but we're not sure it's perpendicular. In fact, we don't think it is. Or maybe just get the inlet manifold on and use that as leverage. Having said that, we've got the exhaust manifold on still, so we could use that as leverage. So we're just trying to work out what to do next, trying to break free as opposed to break this last stud. So the exhaust manifold is out. So we're making some progress. We did that in the end. I cut a wedge out of the exhaust before the connection to the transmission tunnel, so I could just move that bottom bit a bit out of the way, then slip this off. So I'm going to have a look at how I replace a stud. I don't know how that's done. And over here we need to take a look at getting that bolt, the remains of that bolt out. Still, we're getting some progress. So now what do? As my dad just said. We tried double nut on there and then welding the outer one, and then took my wrench hammer to it, and that was the result. So we've got one stud stuck there, and then it's been held on by the head gasket. The thing about this is, you know, the studs, if you put them in, if we replace the old studs now, as you slide them in there, they wiggle about a bit. So there should be room around those studs. It's just a case of breaking that gasket now somehow to pull this off. Anyway. Okay, so we've shifted something. We're not sure what or how, but I'll show you. Running my thumb along here. Sorry, the light's beginning to go, but that's new oil that wasn't there before. What's the smell, John? Is it oil or diesel?
I think it's diesel. It's
so we think
thin for oil.
So we think we've got some diesel coming. So we have shifted it a bit somehow. Just not enough yet. Okay, so when nothing else works, you resort to brute force. We took that long piece of wood over there and we rested it up against the lip under here, and then took a, what's the hammer called? A lump hammer. We took a lump hammer and absolutely whacked the end of that. And we showed you before here, we did it a bit more, and we can see, well, we can see, you can see it move. There we go. Can you see it moving? Okay. So it moves, and it moves at both ends, but what doesn't move is this. So as you can see, it's not that relative to that, the stud is just completely stuck in there. So we're trying to work out what to do next. Yeah. We decided to start putting it back together. Not because we're giving up, but because we're going to try pulling it off that stud to break it loose. So we've put the inlet manifold back on, put the exhaust manifold back on, we've moved the Morris out of the garage, and we've got a big crane up on the beam here. And what we're going to do, and we'll come back to it and we'll film it, but we're going to wrap around the exhaust manifold some rope and around the inlet manifold, and then hopefully from over here we get roughly the angle, or as close as we can, the angle of the stud, and we're going to put some pressure on it, well, pull. Is it pressure still? Anyway, we're going to assert some force to try to, we know the engine's moving, but to try to pull it and hopefully free it from that stud that way. And if it doesn't, then hopefully snap it from the stud so that we can still get the stud out of both parts. I'm not quite sure how that'd work, but that's the idea, so we'll see. So here we have what we've done. We've looped it around the inlet manifold, we've wrapped it around the outlet, the exhaust, and now we're slowly pulling on it to see what happens. I have to say I'm extremely nervous. I can see some movement there. Oh, that felt like the whole car moved. That felt like the whole car moved. That felt like the whole car moved. Yeah.
Right, well if the whole car's moving...
Then that's under tension now, yeah?
Yeah. So now
we're going to whack it.
We're going to whack the end with a...
So we've definitely got a little bit of movement there. We're not sure if it's more, but it's back within the exhaust manifold is back into the exhaust, which is certainly restricting it. So we're going to cut off the exhaust altogether, or have another go at cutting it off. It's just hard to get at. And then come back and have another go. So we've got the exhaust off, the bracket off down the bottom, and we had another go, and what we're seeing is we're seeing a gap developing here of, I guess, a couple of millimetres, John? Yeah, but not on this side. And we realise that we're some way off in terms of the angle of our pull, because ideally you'd want it to be pulling out directly in that line of the stud, and ours is sharper than that. So we figure we've got a couple of things we could try. One is we could jack the left hand side of the car up to twist the engine effectively up a bit, which would get the studs pointing closer to where we have our pulley. I mean, that's one option. The other is, and this is what we're trying first, as you can see, is to just loop it around the inlet manifold and give a pull on there. So we're trying that now. And the car is lifting a bit, but it's not coming apart at all. Maybe it is. Well, hang on, leave it there, John. It's got plenty of tension on it now. But you can see a bit of a gap just beginning to develop there. But no more. Pulling it any further won't increase the tension, will it? Apart from getting all of the weight off the car, it's not. So. No. So I think we put some WD-40 on it again. Maybe give it another whack, and leave it with the tension for a bit. Unless you've got a better idea. No, I think we try that for a little bit and see if gravity can take its toll. So we're getting some movement, but not quite enough. So we decided, and we could put a feeler gauge the whole way along, and we could feel where the stud was. But the feeler gauge was moving everything quite easily. So we wondered if actually the inlet and outlet were getting in our way in some way. So we're trying to take those off again. My nephew George over here, say hi. Hi. Has been over helping us out. And for some reason, we can't get the last bolt off, the one that we were struggling with on the inlet, on the exhaust manifold. And he's busy being polite whilst I swear. So we're just going to get that off, and then we're trying to twist it and see if we can get some, it's just something on it to pull it out, or get a bit more space. We really need some sort of puller to help us hold it in place, and I've heard about the head honcho, but can't get those in the UK as far as I can tell. So anyway, I think we might be stopping this episode here because I'm not sure if I'll get out again tomorrow, and I need to clear up so that we can get the Morris away. So anyone who was shouting at me, the reason you can't twist it further is because of the timing chain. Yeah, I worked that out eventually. In fact, as soon as I'd gone through the rigmarole of taking off the inlet and outlet, inlet and exhaust manifolds. So, but you can see how easily it is twisting, okay, on that stud. And it's just that one stud that, so given, when you look at this, the stud is, let's see if I can really go in on it. The stud is turning, I don't know if that's coming out, but it's turning, I think, with the head. Okay, and we've put our finger against it so we could feel the two together, and turned it, and it feels like they're moving together. Okay, so that means it's just, it's the stud is welded, for want of a better word, to the head. It's just, it's connected in there, and we have to somehow break that free. And I guess, some sort of puller would do it. We have talked about drilling into that stud, and possibly then, getting a hole in there, and then maybe using a hammer drill on it, or trying with an extractor stud in there. But we're not sure, so we're having to think about what to do. So I don't know if I'll get out again tomorrow. If I do, you'll have some more video. Otherwise, this will be the end of this episode.